What's up, YouTube? This is Bystander X89. I'm coming to you today with a deck profile, Metalfoes Kozmos. Guys, the combination of these two archetypes makes this deck super consistent, and we got a few new toys from Flames of Destruction in this deck that could actually really make the deck even better. Alright? Everybody knows what Metalfoes does. Everybody knows what Cosmos does. Guys, I'm going to go into this right now. This deck is epic, to say the least. Alright. First off, I think we're going to talk about the Metalfoes here. Alright, so, first and foremost, I run 3 Gold Driver, 3 Silvered, 3 Stealing, and 3 Volflame. Alright. So both Stealing and Volflame are your scale 8s, while Silvered and Gold Driver are your scale 1s. The main thing I'm going to point out now with these cards is that all the Pendulum effects are the same. You target one face-up card you control, you destroy it, you send it to the grave, you could then search your deck for a Metalfoes spell or trap card, set it onto your field, and then go from there. Cool thing about it is that the reason why this effect is so great is it pairs extremely well with the Cosmo ships, because whenever the Cosmo ships are destroyed by card effect or battle and sent to the graveyard, you can banish a ship and then special summon out a Psychic type pilot, Cosmo pilot, from your deck right to your field. This opens up a whole lot of plays, gets in out the deck really fast, and makes the deck very consistent. Alright, so that's the effect. Now the cool thing about it is that since the scales are 1 to 8, you can literally Pendulum summon almost every monster in this deck. I think the one exception is Cosmo Dark Destroyer, since it is a level 8 and it doesn't fall between levels 2 and 7. But there's enough cards in this deck to get Cosmo Dark Destroyer onto the field, even without Pendulum summoning, so you really don't have to worry about it. Alright, so that's the Pendulum part of the deck. Now I'm going to go into the Cosmo. Of course, we have Dark Destroyer. Like I said, you're going to have to get this onto the field using a pilot effect or one of the other effects I'm going to show you in this deck. Alright, whenever it's summoned, you target one monster on your opponent's field, you destroy it. Has 3,000 attack, 1,800 defense. Makes it a great beat stick monster. Okay, I included a farm girl in here. She opens up a whole lot of OTKs when she can swing on an open field. Whenever she does battle damage, you get to search your deck for a Cosmo card. Any Cosmo card from your deck to your hand. Awesome. And like all pilots, banish her off the field, and you can bring out any of the ships. Alright. One thing I run is I run 3 copies of Cosmo Forerunner. Forerunner is pretty good. Can't be targeted like Dark Destroyer by your opponent's card effects. You can target it with your own, but your opponent can't target it. Which is cool. Every standby phase you get 1,000 extra life points, which helps fuel your pilot effects. And like all ships, when it's destroyed by card effect of battle, you banish it from your graveyard and you get a pilot from your deck. 2,800 attack point beat stick, and being level 7 is pretty awesome in this deck as well. Alright. Then you have 3 copies of Cosmo Sliprider. Whenever this card is summoned, you target a spell or trap card on your opponent's field, you destroy it. It has the ship destruction effect, gets your pilot out of your deck. Level 5 allows you access to things like Cyber Dragon Nova, which eventually goes into Infinity, but I also have another level rank 5 play in this deck as well, to help you guys out. Alright. Okay, I run 2 copies of Cosmo Stormman. The primary reason is that there's going to be a lot of cards that get banished. This guy gets them back onto the field. The only thing about it is that their effects are negated, and they're destroyed at the end of turns, which means you're going to be mostly targeting your ships that were banished with this guy's effect, just to turn on and keep getting stuff out of your deck. Okay, one card of Tin Can. Tin Can really isn't that important in this deck, considering that you really want to be focusing on getting stuff back that was banished. But since he is there, he can help thin out your deck, set up your graveyard, which can also lead to some other plays in this deck as well. Okay, of course you have Cosmo, Dark Lady, to walk in Solemn Strike, pay 1,000 life points, and negate monster effect. And of course you have Cosmo, Wicked Witch, pay 1,000 life points, she becomes indestructible by battle or card effect. Alright, so that's it for the monster lineup. On to the spells. Alright, of course, there are a lot of second type monsters in this deck. You have the one copy of Emergency Teleport. Konami is keeping this unlimited. We are getting, between Cosmos and Metalfoes, multiple copies of this card could be completely insane, so I understand why this card's still at 1. But quick play spell, get your Cosmo pilots onto the field, or a Metalfoe monster onto the field. At the end of the turn, they're banished, but of course, with the Cosmo, or even the Metalfoe scales on the field, that's really not going to be an issue. Of course, you have the full Metalfoes fusion. This is the quick play fusion spell, allows you to fusion someone with Metalfoes monsters on your field or in your hand and bring out a fusion monster. Great to use in your opponent's battle during your opponent's turn. Get that big monster out. Alright. And then, of course, you have 3 copies of Cosmo Town, can help unbrick a bad hand. But the main thing you want to be doing with it is you want to be popping this with your Pendulum scale effects, primarily because this guy gets a Cosmo Surge whenever it's destroyed. So utilize that effect a whole lot more. Of course, you also run the normal spell copy of Metalfoes Fusion. Grab the card to get out of the deck, get this card in the graveyard, you can shuffle back into your deck, and you can draw a card. So it adds a little bit more consistency to the deck. Of course, I run one of the new cards from Flames of Destruction called Monster Reborn. Basically, you take 3 monster cards from your graveyard. Opponent picks one of them, randomly picks one of them to add to your hand. I mean, to special summon to your field, and the other 2 are banished. This card works insanely well with Cosmos and Tin Can. It opens up a whole lot of plays. It sets up your banish zone for recycling with Cosmo Town, or even bringing stuff back with Strawman. That's why I run 2. And of course I run 2 copies of Terraforming because you want to see your field spell a lot more often. Alright, on to the traps. Traps, I run 2, count them, 2 Metalfoes combination. The primary reason why you have this card in it really isn't for its first effect, which is basically whenever one of your monsters are fusion summoned, you can target one Metalfoe monster in your graveyard and bring it back onto the field. Not really using that for the first effect, it's really more for the second effect. Whenever it's destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you search your deck for a Metalfoe monster. So basically, this card has to be face up for the Metalfoe Pendulum effects to target it. But you get a search. And of course, another card from Flames of Destruction that really makes this deck unique. Super Team Buddy Fortune Knight. Target one monster on the field, and you're able to special summon another monster of the same type. It doesn't have to be the same level, doesn't have to be the same attribute, it doesn't have to have the same attack, just the same type. So basically, you target a Metalfoe monster, you can bring out any of the pilots, Cosmo pilots, onto your field ASAP, whether they be from the graveyard or from your hand. You can do the same thing with the machine-type ships in the Cosmos. You can bring one back from the graveyard, and since it's being special summoned, you can tend to get effects like from Cosmos Slipwriter or even Dark Destroyer. So it opens up a whole lot of plays. And whenever this card is popped out itself, it searches out another card, copy of itself from your deck and sets it right to the field. So that's it for the main deck. On to the extra deck. Okay. Alright, so what I do is I'm just going to show you the Adamante, Alka Heist, one copy. It's going to be one copy of Crimsonite, one copy of Mithrilium, and one copy of Oracle. I run one copy of each of the Metalfoes fusions, primarily because I like to have the options. I know some people like to run double Mithrilium, but I've been finding with my hands and the way I've been playing with this deck, I'm not really getting enough of the materials to really get Orichalc, Mythrilium, or Alkahest onto the field more consistently. I've been able to bring out Crimsite and Adamante a lot more easily with this deck, so I might be changing things around. I keep in the Alkahest and Mythrilium and Orichalc in the deck because they are very useful in a Metalfoes deck, so you can't go wrong with any of these cards. I like to have the options of all these cards available to me, so one each is how I do it. Okay. Since we have level 3 monsters in the deck, we can go for a rank 3 play, which is DDD Stone King Darius. While it's battling, detach a material. It becomes unkillable during the battle, and pops your opponent's monster and hits them with 500 points of extra damage, which is very important since Konami changed the whole end of match rules. Effect damage is necessary for a lot of decks now, so I'm giving you guys the option to really get those extra wins during the extra time if you go there. Guy like a Cowboy again, defense mode detach, burns for 800. Volcasaurus, make this with your Slip Riders, target one of your opponent's monster, pop it, your opponent loses attack points equal to that monster's attack points. Alright, of course, the other rank 5 play Cyber Dragon Nova into Cyber Dragon Infinity. Basically steals your opponent. Cyber Dragon Infinity steals your opponent's face-up monsters to make them its own overlay units, and of course it can negate things by detaching its overlay units. Alright, and of course, rank 7 plays Red Eyes Metal Flare. Anytime that your opponent resolves its effect, hits them for 500 points of damage. Alright, for the links, of course you gotta turn around and run 2 copies of Heavy Metalfoes Electromite. Yeah, sorry about this, guys. Not gonna be a budget deck. Everybody knows how insane this card makes any deck with a Pendulum engine in it. This deck is no exception. You make it, you could pop things, get things out of your extra deck, search, get to draw cards, get to add things. When you summon it, you add a Pendulum monster from your deck to your extra deck. So it just does so much for this deck. I also run Topological Trisbana. Special summon a monster to this zone it points to, and you basically take out any back row, which is very handy, especially now that back row is becoming a lot more prevalent in the format. And then you hit your opponent with damage. I think it's 500 points per. Yeah, 500 damage for each of your opponent's cards that were banished by this card effect. And then of course you also have Topological Bomb or Dragon. This guy's in here primarily. He's a link 4. Special summon any monster to it, zone that points to it. It nukes the main monster zone, which is insanely good with this deck, considering that you get the effects of the Cosmo ships when they're destroyed. And of course, if this thing battles your opponent's monster, after it sends it to the graveyard, you hit your opponent for damage with equal to that monster's attack. I think it goes equal, or yours half the monster, equal to the monster's original attack. Excuse me, which is an extra way to burn your opponent out. All right. With that being said, that's it for my Metalfoes Kozmo deck profile for the May 2018 format. Guys, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content like this, hit that on my channel, hit that subscribe button, and ring the notification bell to be alerted whenever I put up new videos onto my channel. Guys, I'll be seeing you in the next video. Peace out.